Welcome to Dandelion Cottage. I'm Leslie Watkins, and today is World Card Making Day. So I'm back. Sorry for the little bit of a delay, but I think we should have no more interruptions with the program today. Fingers crossed. So anyway, I was telling you that I'm going to be making a couple of cards for you. And I'm going to start out with a very simple card, and I'm going to add a little more to it to make it a little more complex so that you can see how easy it is to begin and to get more elaborate as you go along. So let me show you what we have. These are the sets, Quiet Meadow and Nature's Harvest. And I'm going to be using some basic tools. I've got my trimmer, I've got a bone folder, and my paper snips. And I've got a few other things that I'll show you in a little while, but really these are the three things that I use almost every day. And the glue that I like to use is the multi-purpose liquid adhesive. I also have some glue dots because we're going to be adding some embellishments later today as well. And as far as my paper goes, I've got some very vanilla cardstock, and I have a couple of mats in an assortment of colors. I've got my medium very vanilla envelopes to match, some scraps. And just to keep it simple today, I've got my crumb cake ink and a sponge. And later, when we get a little more into the color, I also have these colors, but I'm not sure yet what exactly we're going to be using, but I have them out. And I selected those colors in particular because they coordinate with the suite, and I'm going to show you that. So I've got my Stampin' Up catalog here, and I use Stampin' Up products because of the quality. The tools and the papers and all of the other accessories are just some of the nicest things that you can get. I also like that they're delivered right to my door, okay? That I can do one-stop shopping on the computer. I can select what I want, and then the package is delivered. I don't have to go out, and I'm not much of a shopper. Let's just leave it at that. I like the convenience. And the catalog is filled with all of these stamp sets, and there are ones for the holidays, occasions, birthdays. There are kits that have everything you need in them, and just a lot in there, something for everybody. But what I want to show you is that in the back of the catalog, you have the tools, okay? And you can see here that there's a tremendous assortment of colors. And these coordinate with papers, inks, markers, specialty designer papers, and they're beautiful, and they're broken up into these color families. So you've got brights, neutrals, regals, subtles, and basics. And then you have these in color collections that change every couple of years. So you've got your colors covered. They even have storage solutions. They've got all of these added tools that you can use to make your cards, like paint brushes, blender brushes, heat embossing. And I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but I just want to give you a sense of what's in here because it's quite a lot. You even have ribbon and trim embellishments. So here are some of the rhinestones and pearls and various other things that you can use to make your cards as fancy as you like. You've got tools, and then in the back there are punches, dies, adhesives, embossing folders. So it's very comprehensive, and if you would like to have a catalog, please let me know, and I'd be happy to send you one. In addition to the annual catalog, there's also the mini catalog. This is the one for July through December 2021. And I have this one out because this is the suite that I'm going to be working with today. It's called Harvest Meadow, and you can get just the stamps and the dies separately. You can even just get the stamps if you don't have a die cutting machine, that's fine. But they also have all these coordinating elements that come with the suite, and I'm going to be using some of these today, so I'm going to show you what they are. These are the Designer Series papers, and these are 12 by 12 inches, and they feature a design on both sides. And I'm just going to spread these out so you can get a sense of the assortment here. So there's a lot. There are, I think, 12 different patterns. The papers are double-sided, and if you'd like to use a matching ink with any of these colors, you can do that too. I've just pulled out some of these warmer tones for today because I'm feeling like the golden autumn colors as I look out my window and I see the trees beginning to turn color. I've also got this specialty paper, which is a cork paper, which is really extraordinary. It's actual cork, and it has this wonderful soft texture to it, and yet it's as thin as paper. So you can cut it, you can die cut it, you can do all sorts of things with it. The suite also includes some of this beautiful cotton ribbon. It's called the Diamond Weave Ribbon, and it's got this very pretty, I think you can see that. And then I've got some assorted embellishments here. I have the brushed metallic adhesive back dots, and they come in 3 different colors. There's gold, copper, and kind of a bronzy color. I've got the metallic pearls, which come in gold and silver, and I also have some of these cute little bee trinkets. And I'm just keeping these things on hand. I'm not sure exactly what it is that I want to add to the cards today, but I pulled these out because I thought they might be fun. And the other thing I have that I'll be using today is, and I can't find it, where'd it go? Here it is. This is a Stampin' chalk marker, and basically what it is a white marker. And the first card I'm going to do for you today is going to be a monochromatic, and I'm just going to use Crumb Cake, which is a beautiful kind of a neutral beigey craft paper kind of a color. And I'm going to be using a piece of crumb cake. So let me just get that out. And I'm going to be using this stamp of these echinacea flowers. So there's my image, tone on tone. And using my chalk marker, I'm just going to, oh, picked up the wrong one. Hang on, please. Let me get my new one. Just going to pick up the highlights on the petals. And there you have a very simple, very quick and easy image. And I can cut that out. So let's just trim this down a little bit. Do it this way. Do it this way first. Let's see. So this measures 4.5. Let's go. Let's go. And I can mount that on the front of my card just like that. If I'd like, I can add a sentiment. So let's see, let's turn this into a thank you card. And it's just as simple as that. Now, if I want to add a little bit of sponging around the edges, that's easy to do. Just take my sponge, give it just a little bit of a tonality. and I can mount that onto the front of my card. And that's it. Now, maybe you want to add a little bit extra. I'm just going to cut a couple of little V-shaped pieces from each side, and I have my linen thread here, and I can just wrap that around. Just going to tie a simple knot. Give that a little bit of a burnish to spread the glue around. Now I've got my metallic pearls here. And I'll just add a couple of these. Let's put it here. There. And that is basically my favorite kind of a quick and easy card. I don't think it gets any simpler than that. It's very pretty. You can decorate the envelope if you'd like to go with it. In our stamp set, you have this pretty image here of this little wildflower. And I think I might actually have an envelope ready to go. And that's my first card. All right, so I hope you like that. Now we're going to do something that requires a few more tools and a little more time. And for this card, I'm going to be using the die cutting machine. So let me just put this out of the way. And I've got a piece of very vanilla thick cardstock here. And I'm just going to trim this down. Let's see, let's make it 4 inches. And again, I'm going to take my same stamp, going to give that a little inking. And let me think, which way do I want this to go? Oh, it doesn't really matter. So I'm just going to fit this onto my scrap here. There's my image. I'm just going to get my die lined up. There are my flowers. I'm just checking my settings here to make sure that we're live. Okay, that looks good. And oh my goodness, there's so many. I see Carol, Linda, Carolyn, Jocelyn. Thank you, ladies, for joining me today. Nice to see you here. I hope you're having a wonderful weekend so far. So I want to go back to my sponging here. So when I have a die cut that has this little bit of a white edge outside of the lines, I just feel like it looks so much more finished when you add just a little bit of ink around the edges. And also, if you got your die on there a tiny bit off center, as I did, this really helps to make it look better. So this is a really quick and easy thing that you can do to really scale up your die cuts. Okay, so there's my flowers. And let's see, I've got a scrap here. This is a scrap of crumb cake from my last card. So why don't I just use that up? I've got ink on my fingers. Let me wipe that off. Surprise, surprise. Okay. Now for this card, I think what I want to do is I want to raise this up a little bit. So I'm going to get my dimensionals. Everything that I'm using today, I will list below in the description. You'll be able to go to the online store and shop for any of these items. And I think what I want to do is get some of my mini dimensionals. So I can get into some of these smaller places. There we go. Okay, I think that's all of them. And I can add my die cut. And let's find another card base. So there is our die cut image. And I think what I want to do is get that sentiment out. Sorry, I'm off camera. Let's fix that. There we go. All right, let's get this. And for this, I'm going to use that stitched rectangle. So let's see which one fits the best. I think this one looks pretty good. Yeah. All right. Just line that up. Make sure it's nice and straight. That looks pretty good. There we go. And there is my sentiment with that beautiful stitched border. Looks so elegant. Love that. So let's get this card mounted up. And actually, I think I want to add a little bit of decorative paper behind this one. So let's just measure. I've got, this measures 2 3/4 by 4 1/2. So I think I'll cut this out at 5. Actually, let's go 5 1/4 by 4. There we go. And then, using my dimensionals again, I'm going to let this sort of straddle over the stems here. So I'm putting the dimensionals at the ends of the label. Just going to place that right like so. Okay, so there's my second card. And maybe for this one, we'll add one of these little bee trinkets. So for that, I'll just use my glue dot, put that right on the back of my little bee. Just put that right up here. Okay, so let's get another envelope. And there is my second card. Okay, so I think you get the idea of how easy it is just to add a few other little embellishments and layers with a little bit of color. You can get some very pretty results. And these stamp sets are so versatile because you can change them up by using different colors to reflect the different seasons. Many of the everyday stamps can also be used over the holidays. So with just a little bit of imagination, you can do quite a bit. So now let's look at this other set, the Quiet Meadow. All right, so this has some really nice elements in it that I like very much. For instance, I like this typewritten stamp that can be used in the background. So let me show you how that can be used. And I think I'll use this crumb cake cardstock for that. And get a piece of scrap paper. And I'm just going to create something in the background that looks a little bit like a book page. I'm just randomly moving the stamp around to get that pattern. There we go. Okay. And this set, I'll just move some of these things away. It's better. So this set is the one that comes with all of these wonderfully shaped meadow flowers, and I love this. I really like having the ability to be able to make all of these wonderful die cuts. And so let's play with some of these. And I have to pick a color. So I think I'm going to use, excuse me, I'm going to use some early espresso cardstock because I want these to really stand out and contrast with the crumb cake background. So I've got a couple of scrap pieces of that. And I just want to select, I really like this kind of ferny shape, so let's do that one. And this one. And try this one. Let's see what that does for us. We may need a couple more, but we'll start with that. Here to make sure. See if I can squeeze these on here side by side. That looks okay. And this one. So delicate. There we go. Alright, so I just want to make sure I've poked out all my little bits here. That looks good. Beautiful. Okay. Make my little bouquet. Alright, so that looks pretty good. Let me get that on my card. I'm just going to put some dots of glue now. When I'm putting glue on these very narrow stems, what I like to do is grab my tweezers and just remove some of the excess so it doesn't come out the sides. I want to make sure I've got this right side up and put this one here. And then I'll add my fern. I think it's a fern. Looks like a fern to me. Okay. And then my middle one, there we go. And let's see what sentiments we have here. I like Thinking of You. So why don't we get that one out? And let's see, I think I want to put this on a piece of crumb cake. So let me get out my scraps. That'll work. Give that a little trim. And again, I'm going to use my sponge around the edges. Same here. I want to bring some of that color a little more into the background, so I'm just using my piercing pad. This is a foam pad covered with scrap paper, just to let me get in there and give that a little extra tone. There we go. Okay. Let's see how this looks. Okay, that's coming along. And I think what I'd like to do is add a little more detail to this. So why don't we just grab our piercing tool. I'm going to put 2 little holes just like that. And then I'm going to grab a couple of dimensionals. Get that lined up. And then I'm going to go ahead and pierce through the mat down there as well. And now this time what I want to do is grab my needle and thread and I'm just going to stitch through there. And I'll do that a couple of times. See how that looks. That looks pretty good. I think that'll do it. And then I'm just going to tie that off. And I'll make a tiny bow. All right. Let's get this onto our card base. Okay, now let's see. Do we want to add a little? Let's try these. I have the brushed metallic adhesive back dots, and I'm going to use this bronzy color. Actually, I think I have a package opened already. Let me grab that. Okay, so there's my next card. So let's do one more card, and this time I want to use some of that cork paper. And let me see, I've got another card base here. And I will, I think I want to use some of this. Let's see. Let's see what we've got here. Okay, so the cork paper I think would look nice. Not that one. A little too busy. I do like it with this, so that's a possibility. I like that. Yeah, I think we'll stick with that. And I'm just wondering, what would it be like if we die cut some of these flowers out of one of these? It might be kind of fun. Let's see what we got here. Now I think I may be mixing up my die sets here a little bit, but that's okay. Okay. Let me see if this is the right size. That'll work. And put my cork as the next layer. So let's just do a little measuring here. We've got, this is 4 by 5 1/4, so let's just take that down a little bit. I just want a very thin border. So let's cut this at 3 7/8. Check that. That looks pretty good. And then this will be 5 1/8. And that gives me that nice little dark border around there, so I like that. So that's what that's going to look like. And then what I'm thinking is I want to see what these flowers would look like cut out of the DSP. So I'm getting my machine back out again. Oh, I like that. Okay, that looks pretty good. So let's start assembling these pieces. I think I said I was only going to make 3 cards today, but we're up to 4 so far. But I think that since we're celebrating World Card Making Day, that's okay. This cork paper adds so much texture and tactile feel to the card. I really love that. I love that it becomes more sensual having the various texture on there. Just adds to the whole thing. The whole experience of getting a card from somebody. Okay, so there's my base. And then I have my beautiful die cuts here. This is a very fun card. I like this. All right, so let's add some glue. And I'm just gonna add some little dots on my grasses. I think it's a grass. The stems, the little leaves. And again, in these little narrow areas. Okay, and I'm going to miss the spot. There we go. I'm going to do the same thing with the tissue. Move this over for a second. Okay. And what sentiment shall we use for this card? I think I kind of like this good luck again. Did we use that? No, I think we used thank you before. Let's use good luck. And let's see, does this fit that? No. Let's try the other one. Not quite. I think I'm going to go back to my stitched rectangles for this one. There we go. That lined up. And I think I'll just glue this down. Just like so. think that will do it for today. So let's see what we made. Let me clear off the desk here. Got lots and lots of stuff all over the place. Want to add one of these? Let me see. I think we'll leave it. Sometimes less is more. So here are an assortment of cards ranging from very simple. Okay, so this was the tone on tone, just a simple stamping. So basically it's stamps, ink and paper, a couple of little embellishments. Then I did another card adding a second color and using a all over stamped background sponged on the edges, and then these really gorgeous delicate die cuts with some more embellishments, and we stitched that tag onto the card. Here's a card with the DSP, decorative paper, in the background. We've got the die cut that's popped up with the dimensionals, a little bit of sponging, and a cute little golden bee trinket. And then finally, our die cuts using the designer series paper on this incredible cork paper with our die cut sentiment. So let's see if we can get these all on the screen at the same time. There we go. Okay, I think you can see that. So thank you so much for joining me today. And Carolyn says, I bought the dies only. That's okay. You know, those dies are so versatile just as they are. Yeah, Linda, they're so delicate. They're beautifully made. Hey, Candy. Thank you. Thank you. What color is the flower stamped in? I think, Margaret, are you talking about this card? This is all crumb cake. So it's crumb cake cardstock with crumb cake ink, as is the sentiment. Same thing here and back here. This is early espresso, and this is also crumb cake. Okay, and the paper is from that suite with the meadows. So I think that answers all the questions. Anybody else have a question here? Yeah, the paper is gorgeous, Linda. It's really pretty, and the paper actually has some beautiful sort of delicate prints that I want to use inside of some boxes as a liner. I think it'll be really pretty for that. All right. Well, I think that does it. Thank you so much for joining me today on World Card Making Day. Let me say that again. World Card Making Day. And I hope that you take the time to make some cards and, most importantly, send them out. Share them with the people that you care about. And I will be posting more information below of all of the things that I used today. And I will be back again on Monday for Marvelous Monday. Have a terrific weekend. Stay well, stay happy, and stay creative. I'll see you next time.